This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast. Today's discussion is four thoughts for Saturday. And bear with me on these four different thoughts that have come in very different directions. So the first thought is, I was recently in Park City this weekend, Park City, Utah, and there's so many thoughts that come out of that. But the thing that struck me the most was, here's a town that's enjoying explosive growth. And that's a good thing that there's explosive growth. The bad thing is, in trying to park a car Saturday night, or it wasn't even Saturday, it was Thursday night in Park City, it was impossible to do so, literally impossible to do so. So let us out of Park City to go somewhere else to eat that night and have a drink that night. And I think it's really a fascinating situation when developers take over and there's no check on development, things go haywire. And that's what you're seeing in Park City. Park City is one of my favorite places in the world, Park City, Deer Valley. But currently, even though skiing is overall wonderful, even though one of my buddies skis too fast and ended up in the hospital, it's a situation where Park City was almost a total disaster on Thursday night. And I think it's going to, quite frankly, get worse. I can't even imagine what it's like during spring break week and spring break month. But but what a disaster. And I'm the opposite right now of sort of the travel publicity or the local travel publicity for Park City, because it was literally a disaster on Friday and this week. There was a crowd in town. That's a salute to zoning and to letting developers take a little bit on the chin and not going crazy with so much development. The second thing we'll talk about today is how you end up in certain places. In today's discussion is Chicago's North Shore, where there's only so many good restaurants to go to. You keep on rotating to the same restaurants, and how you end up just naturally with favorites in places you want to go. And the question is, why aren't there more small, good little places to go to? And what happens is economically it becomes very hard to survive at some of these small little places. My favorite small little places on the North Shore, probably in the 30 years I've lived there, is this wine bar that used to be there. But again, it couldn't survive on the small traffic. One of the problems with the suburbs, other kinds of places, is they end up having a very hard time with small places surviving and thriving. We've got a number of great small coffee shops, Retards, Hometown, and others. But in terms of restaurants, there's 5 to 7 great restaurants. I put the Abigail's right at the top of that. I love Pomeroy. I love a few other places. But there are very few great places. We spend time at Half Inn and Little Ricky's too. I'm the only person in the family that would go to Little Ricky's, but it used to be called Little Ricky's. Now it's called Little Honeycomb. But the same concept is true. There's only X amount of places that people really like going to, and the ones that you really love, whether Ravinia Barbecue or the place, the wine bar, all seem to get closed down over time. So that's the second thought of the day. The third thought of the day is dentistry. And again, whenever I comment on dentistry, I feel like Charles Barkley commenting on San Antonio and the big women there, and he offends somebody. But dentistry has become one of the great rackets in our society. You go to the dentist, and they're always trying to push you on the x-rays and the extra services. The dentist comes in for about 10 seconds to make sure that the dentist can bill. Well, the dental hygienist, who's the one that I go to, I love the dental hygienist. She's just fantastic, the least painful, makes it the easiest thing to get through and so forth. But dentistry has become a complete racket. We're always looking for more ways to rack up the bill with less work. And I think it's fascinating. And I don't mean that as a knock on dentists, and any more than Charles Barkley means that a knock on the big old woman of San Antonio. I don't know if that's true or not, but Charles Barkley is funny when he talks about it. And I don't mean to piss off all the dental people, but it does seem like it is a racket. And that's the third point for the day. The fourth point for the day is we are recording today a couple of our podcasts from the airport. And what's amazing to me is, we try and find a quiet spot in the airport. We could do this and not drive people crazy. But what blows me away is I find a quiet spot, people move towards me, is how everybody has earbuds on, everybody's headsets on. So it's not nearly as annoying to other people as otherwise would be. And I'm very sensitive. I'm at least 40 feet from the next person. We're trying not to drive people crazy. But I find it fascinating to see what's going on here. And, in this, in the being able to record and talk in a voice that works for the podcast, at least reasonably so, and not drive other people crazy. Simply amazing to me. Again, those are four thoughts for Saturday. Thank you for listening to the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast. Thank you so much. And thank you. 2 of these 4 suggestions come from one of our favorite listeners. Thank you so much for sending in the suggestion. Thank you very, very much. We owe you.